Shocking differences of Zepbound 12.5 milligrams versus Zepbound 2.5 milligrams. I am so pumped to talk about this topic today. Hi friends, I'm Elizabeth, Countess of Shopping. I've been on Zepbound, Mounjaro, and Tirzepatide compound the last 2.5+ years, losing over 108 pounds. And doing things like this. I do weight training and things like that, going from over 300 pounds morbidly obese to being super, super active and completely changing my life. And on today's video, I want to double down on some of the shocking differences if you're just starting your Tirzepatide journey, and I'm gonna lump in our Mounjaro friends, although that's slightly different for type 2 diabetics than it is for obesity management that Zepbound is typically prescribed for, and sleep apnea. And I really am pumped to talk about this because there's some really stark differences. And I want to properly set expectations if you're on Zepbound 2.5 milligrams, or if you're some of my OGs who are titrating up to from Zepbound 10 milligrams to Zepbound 12.5 milligrams. There's some stark differences you need to know about. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, so let's dive in. First and foremost, Zepbound 2.5 milligrams is the starting dose. Typically, most people are on it for 4 weeks, 4 pens, 28 days. And so with that, none of this is medical advice, simply my experience, strength, and hope from somebody who's been doing this for over 2.5 years. I was one of the guinea pigs people made fun of that are like, oh my gosh, you're one like those Ozempic freaks. And so now I'm like, who's laughing last as I'm doing really cool stuff physically, and being able to ride horses and be super, super active, was just on QVC. Like, cool stuff has happened as a result of my GLP-1 weight loss. So Zepbound 2.5 milligrams, the starting dose, the beginning dose, I call it the big 3 differences versus 12.5 milligrams. The big 3 to focus in on when first starting the medication. And by the way, I said people are on it for typically 4 weeks. Sometimes people are on it longer than that. In my free encouragement group at countessofshopping.com/group, I'll link that down in the description, by the way, as is all of my resources I'm talking about on today's video. So you can have access to all my free stuff because there's a ton of it. In our group, we talk about this a lot. A lot of people have been on Zepbound 2.5 milligram for months and months and months, and that's working well for them. So we're talking, and obesity management is a very wide arch, a big hoop that people can jump through very, very widely. And so there's a lot of different treatment methods on here, and customizing for you what works best for you. And this video hopefully will help you talk to your healthcare provider, because I am not one. I don't pretend to play one on the internet. But Zepbound 2.5 milligrams, the big 3 are side effects, appetite, and brain changes. And those are the things, in my humble opinion, for somebody who is 300+ pounds to double down on and get really smart and really good at having systems around those things. For example, with side effects, the most common one are gastrointestinal, diarrhea, constipation, nausea, and vomiting. If you are titrating up on a dose, for me, I almost always, and I don't like to use superlatives, but almost always had some sort of gastrointestinal thing appear. I did not have vomiting and nausea until I got to Zepbound 15 milligrams, the highest dose on Zepbound. So just because you have one side effect, in my experience, strength, and hope, does not mean I'm going to have that again. It may be something different. I thought at the beginning, oh, I have blowout diarrhea, I'm about ready to poop my pants. You would have just said that on the internet, but here we are. I'm about ready to put my pants. And so that I'm going to always have that. And that's not been the case for me. So focusing in on these big 3 and then having subsequent systems for that. One of the best systems for side effects, in my humble opinion, that I switched over to because my healthcare provider told me to, was switching over to BIOptimizers Magnesium Breakthrough, because it has 7 types of magnesium, which have helped me so much for having constipation, because that's another fun one. You very well may get that, of where you're like, oh my gosh, I really need to go to the bathroom and have a healthy regularity daily. I don't have that issue, and I've not had a constipation issue with taking Magnesium Breakthrough because it has 7 types of magnesium in it. In addition to helping me with constipation, it has helped with sleep. My sleep got very jacked as one of my side effects. And having magnesium to help with sleep, because it has 7 types in there, has been very beneficial for me to wind down at night. I take it about 30 minutes before bedtime. It helps me ease into a gentle sleep. I don't have that melatonin hangover when I wake up. I wake up ready to hit my to-do list, which, if you are like me, is enriched, active, and involved as an entrepreneur, a wife, and a mom. doing lots of stuff on my to-do list, I can't afford not sleeping well. This has changed that for me. I get very, very good sleep as a result. And then the other component that I didn't know when I first started taking Magnesium Breakthrough is the muscle recovery, is it does help aid with the magnesium in it in muscle recovery. And for me, for working out more, now I started walking, y'all. My first year, I could just focus only in on the food. But having the 7 types of magnesium, game changer. You can use the discount code Queen on on Amazon. It's Countess. Go to my Amazon link down below. Now there's some bad actors on Amazon, so use my link that is on the description, and then use the discount code Countess for extra savings with your any magnesium or any BIOptimizers product. If it is on sale, the code may not work, but if the product is not on sale, then take advantage of the extra savings. And sometimes some of you guys have said that the code has stacked, so just FYI with that with sale. So use it, and it's at the very end when it says promo code or like gift cards and things like that. That has been so helpful for checking that box on my big 3. Next is the appetite changes. My appetite, y'all, I would go for 3 helpings. Anyone else relate? Not 1 helping, not 2, but 3. I'd be like, refills, please. So adjusting to the appetite changes on Zepbound 2.5 milligrams for me, being over 300 pounds was crazy. Like literally my mouth was open. Like, close your mouth, Elizabeth. I could not get used to being full. And that was a huge concept of like, okay, I'm full, put my fork down. I'm full, I don't need to keep eating. Okay, I feel full. This is what feeling full looks like. This is what feeling hungry looks like. Learning those body cues for somebody who had a very wonky perspective with food and a disordered perspective with food, to then learn how to do that has been the best skill set. It has been so helpful because then I can build upon that, right? Skill set building and evidence stacking to do bigger, better, faster, stronger things with my health. And so learning that concept of appetite, of when I'm hungry and when I'm full, what do those appetite changes? Now, some people don't have any appetite changes. You are not a whack job at all if you don't have any appetite changes. I know some people get really down on themselves of like, I don't feel this. There's nothing that's happened to me. To me, I felt it immediately within the first 24 hours. I was like, okay, check please. I feel this. It was a game changer. Some people don't have that experience yet. It may just mean you need a higher dose, which we're going to talk about, which is why this is the shocking differences between 2.5 versus 12.5. With that as well was the brain change. I started to feel in my brain on Zepbound 2.5 milligrams, first dose, the silencing of food. It was like food noise. A blanket had been put on top of it. And if you haven't had food noise or food chatter or the consumption in your thoughts of food, I've done tons of videos on food noise or food chatter. If you're like, I don't know what that is, just the continuation of thoughts around food. What am I going to have for food? Like, so many thoughts associated with that. To silence that, oh my gosh, life-changing. Just that piece alone, take away the substantial weight loss and things like that. That just alone was bonker doodles. So those are my big 3, getting really good at systems around the big 3, how pivotal that is to then, as you titrate up and with the different doses, we've got 2.5, 5, 7.5 milligrams, 10 milligrams, 12.5 milligrams, and then the highest is 15 milligrams. Zepbound 12.5 milligrams, for me, the biggest focus is lifestyle focus, making permanent lifestyle changes. How do we focus in on these lifestyle changes? How do we make these permanent lifestyle changes, right? Particularly with 50 to 70% of people only taking Zepbound for a year from the recent studies that have been done, how do you take that time that you have to make it permanent, sustainable, lifelong changes? By the way, PS, when people get off the medication, 70% gain it back. Just keeping that in mind if you're thinking about getting off the medication, which I know my heart breaks hearing about all the insurance changes that are happening. That and side effects are the reasons why people are most likely stopping medication. But Zepbound 12.5 milligrams, lifestyle focus changes. What does that look like? So in addition to learning about the food component, the appetite triggers, the full triggers of what does a healthy portion size look like? What does it look like when I go out to dinner with my family and I can't eat the whole plate? What do I then do? Like, that for me is like, I just immediately order a to-go box very quickly within the meal. So I don't feel pressure to have to be part of the clean plate club. Anybody have that? Clean your plate. I don't want to be in the clean plate club anymore. Or learning to order smaller things. Like I love to order a lot of tapas, a lot of appetizers, just small things like a salad and then a bunch of small things. Great. I love wanting to go to restaurants like that where it's not these jumbo big plate portions. Y'all, I used to love going to buffets. Now I'm like, no, like I would not get my money's worth on that. I like smaller portion size, kids portion sizes, things like that. Going up to Zepbound 12.5 milligrams, titrating up for me was a different ballgame. And here's why is the data. Let's deep dive into the science, honey. You know that it was coming. It's the lifestyle focus, and this studies are from Surmount 1, talking about, there wasn't, in doing my research, I'm specifically honing in on 2.5 milligrams versus Zepbound 12.5 milligrams. The data I'm finding is different than those doses, but we can glean still the same. We can still pull out from it a lot of good information that's beneficial for those specific doses. So Zepbound 5 milligrams, on average, 15% of people lose their starting body weight. So if you weigh 220 pounds to 230 pounds, on average, people lose about 34 pounds. When we go to Zepbound 10 milligrams, so I didn't have data specifically for 12.5 milligrams, but I wanted to show the differences between the two. So 15% of our body weight for the 5 milligrams, that's not even the starting dose, so it's probably less than that, versus Zepbound 10.5 milligrams, 19.5% of, average of 19.5% of body weight lost over a year, which was 72 weeks. So for a 200-pound person, that's a 40-pound weight loss. And if you did 200, let's take it to the 220 to make sure that we're doing apples to apples on there. 220 times 19.5 was about 43 pounds. So 43 pounds versus 34 pounds. See what I'm saying? 5 milligrams versus 10 milligrams. Again, it's not the same, but the data, let's pull out the same analogy of there's more weight loss with higher doses. And if you're having a stall or it's slow for you, my fellow Turtles Unite, that's something to talk to your healthcare provider about being on a higher dose. 78% of participants on 10 milligrams achieve at least a 10% weight loss. 67% achieved a 15% weight loss. The average of that was 19.5% of body weight lost over a year, 72 weeks. So it's over, like 72 weeks is 52 weeks, hello. So that's like 18 months, basically. So to give context on this matters of like the differences between the two is substantially more weight loss at the higher dose. But this is where it all goes back to. This is the big enchilada. The big bowl of that is what I first talked about at the very beginning was part of the big three. Side effects. It's like a teeter-totter saw. Can you handle the side effects to help with weight loss? Do you need to lose more weight versus the side effects? Diarrhea, constipation, nausea, vomiting. Like that. It goes back to that of frequently. And then like why people aren't titrating up on doses, it's a couple of other things, but that is important to recognize and know. And if you are feeling very, very frustrated, I want to encourage you. I went more quickly than when I told the story previously, I look back at I have like hundreds and hundreds of videos because I've been doing this since January 2023 and I'm filming this in July 2025. There's hundreds of videos for my daily show talking about this. And I can go back and be like, oh, slow and steady wins the race. No, I wish I would have had better results if I had titrated up more quickly. And I've been on Zepbound 15 milligrams, the highest dose now for a long time, a year and a half. Is that right? A year and a half? Yeah, a year now? Over a year. Let's just for easy basic, for the debate part of it. It's been over a year. I wish I had gone higher faster because I would have seen more weight loss with it because that's what the data tells us. And because I was withstanding the side effects, I was, and I could have pushed faster. I thought it was smarter to go slower with it. And in hindsight, the data does not tell us that. And again, this is from somebody who's not medical at all. I'm wearing a white blazer. It's not like I'm trying to be a medical code or anything like that. It's just, it's a cute blazer. It's very cute. It's on my Amazon shopping list down on the description link below. I'm not medical at all, which is why I want you to talk about this with your healthcare provider. This video's intention is to talk to your healthcare provider because I'm not medical at all. But if I had gone faster, so to speak, in terms of my weight loss later on in the journey, after like 6 months, it probably would have fared better for me in hindsight. Again, I was one of the first, not first, but kind of, I was one of the first YouTubers here talking about GLP-1 medication 2.5 years ago. Now there's tons of us talking about it. There's a lot of choices here in the marketplace. But when I was the first one talking about it, it seemed like the right thing to do. And in hindsight, the data shows us that it's not. that was a mistake on my part. Because we get to what's called the setting point at the 72-week mark, the data also tells us that, and I've done other videos all about set point or like hitting the wall. Like there's a wall that you hit at that you're basically, that's where your body's gonna go to. And it basically, not that the medication's not working, because it's not working, it is working. It just gets to a set point of where that's kind of the weight of where your body's set at. And so the weight that I'm set at right now, I am still fighting, pushing, clawing to get to the next level, which is why I've recently hired on a dietitian for weekly coaching. And it's been awesome, by the way. It's been a great decision to help me because I need to learn about nutrition with, how do I do nutrition with lifting, for example, going back to those lifestyle changes on Zepbound 15 milligrams. I still need to continue to learn this. I don't have all the answers. And so learning these things has been really, really beneficial to keep the journey going with this, which is why I've hired a dietitian to help me on that. But if before getting to that set point, if I had moved from 12.5 milligrams to 15 milligrams, it probably would have fared better for me because I could withstand the side effects. Going back to that teeter-totter saw, if you're having blowout diarrhea or hardcore constipation, which if you're having hardcore constipation, please, for the love of all things good, try BIOptimizers magnesium, obviously before starting any sort of supplement, talk to your healthcare provider. But you know how many hundreds, if not thousands of people have told me that I've helped them with their poops because of BIOptimizers magnesium? My legacy is I've helped the poops. Just make sure you use my link down in the description, link below, my Amazon shopping link. It really is truly my legacy is on bowel movements. Who knew? I thought maybe it would be for fashion or my wit, but it turns out it's for poop. What's your legacy today, my friends? What's it from a Pretty Woman where she's at the end of the movie where he's like, what's your dream, Hollywood? What's your dream? I'm like, what's your legacy, Hollywood? Mine's poop. Okay, let's get back on track. We got to go down the rabbit hole sometimes. Let's get back on track. So the point of the matter is I could have withstand the side effects with this, and which is why it would have fared better for me to go a little bit faster on Zepbound 15 milligrams versus the 12.5 milligrams. People are having blowout diarrhea or vomiting or things like, you should not, why are we increasing? That to me is like, I'm like, why are you going up if you can't keep food down or you're so nauseous you have to be on Zofran, not Zofran, it's Zofran. Like, why? And if you're having vomiting, talk to your doctor about getting on prescription Zofran or something akin to that for an anti-nausea. Like, that's what I don't understand is helping to mitigate. And as we see, the cool part about where GLP-1 medication is going is it's going to be customized more and more and more and more when people do have these side effects, which are so common. They're so common, but it's one of the big bulk reasons why people stop taking GLP-1 medication, because either their healthcare or their doctors making them titrate up too fast, which is causing that. If you're not having that though, then perhaps for me, I was not having that to the level and intensity, which I hear people tell me, and I'm like, you poor thing, that sounds horrible. Like, it sounds horrible that you haven't had a bowel movement in 3 or 4 days. Get BIOptimizers magnesium. But I don't have that issue. Like, or people on the inverse, someone just wrote literally right before I started filming this video, they're like, I'm having blowout diarrhea. I cannot be away from my toilet. And I'm like, babes, have, what is it? The brat diet, bananas, rice, applesauce. I almost said tuna. It's not tuna, it's toast. Tuna may not be helpful if you're having diarrhea. You don't want that coming out on the other end. But talking to your doctor about that. Are you in communication with them about that? And then as I think and predict that the GLP-1, as we continue to evolve, because we have opposable thumbs, we're meant to evolve, having that evolution with GLP-1s is we're going to see more of this customization. So if you are having blowout diarrhea or things like that, it's going to be more and more and more customized with it. Or maybe you're slower on your weight loss or faster. There's foremost, I say this all the time, and there's a recent study that I cannot wait to talk about specifically on hyper responders versus hypo responders. New study just came out. So click that like and subscribe button so you can see that video. By signaling to the YouTube algorithm, you'll see more of my content by doing those things. But with hypo responders, so slower responders, hyper responders is fast responders, normal responders and non-responders. There's 4 genres, there's 4 buckets. And so with those buckets, recognizing that too, you're not gonna know your bucket, but this is part of the cool thing. If we may start being able to determine what buckets you're in before you start the medication. How cool is that? So you would know before starting, are you gonna be slow on this? That will also then thus correlate to how quickly should you titrate through these medications. Is that not cool? Like, science is so cool. Science is so cool. It blows my mind. My beautiful friends, so the differences with this, the weight loss component of it, and then making those going back over to lifestyle focus, which is food changes. Eli Lilly tells us in the literature, food changes and exercise changes. And for me, Zepbound 2.5 milligrams was the big three. Side effects, figuring that out. Appetite changes and brain changes. And then and if you're like, what are the specific systems with those? I do have specific videos on systems. That to me, and also the Atomic Changes by James Clear is a really good book talking about systems. It's how I've run 3 multi-million-dollar companies from scratch. They're not franchises. My husband and I have started those. The punchline and the secret is it's system-based, truly. Like, there's systems as to why that has happened and why I can do it over and why I can do it over and over and over again. So I like sharing about systems because it matters so much, not just for business, although I love talking business, not just for business, but it matters for life and for weight loss too, specifically the weight loss bucket. So my sweet friends, I love you guys so super much. What are you doing today to move you closer to your goals? Tell me down in the comments below. And our emoji of the day, is going to be a turtle. Because I want to recognize our turtles. If things are going more slowly for you, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, it will always materialize if you work for it. So for our fellow turtles unite, turtle is going to be our emoji of the day. It's our bat signal. You made it to this far in the video. It helps me with the pattern recognition to get to know you better because I care. It also is my way to pray over you if you don't believe in prayer, uplift you in positive thought. And if you haven't seen my new workout series videos, my 10-minute workout video, I just launched by the time you see this like a week ago. I'm really excited about it. It's a new series I'm going to be doing on just easy 10-minute workouts with GLP-1 weight loss from somebody who's not a personal trainer, but who is actively learning how to change my life and wants a group workout together. So that series just started. That video just got released and I'm really proud of it. And I was more nervous to release that video than being on Oprah and Good Morning America. And being in front of like 500,000 people for my Amazon Live Black Friday stuff. Like when I was on with corporate, that's with corporate, Amazon corporate. So my beautiful friends, I love you guys so super much. Make sure you get your BIOptimizers down in the link below. In the description link below too. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping. Count my blessings because life is delicious. I love you guys so super much. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.